go leka go thusana le sedika sa rona ka di investment o ya ko China this afternoon yaanong o leka go prepare konta go senya nako Deputy Minister le amogetswe mo ngaka modiri molema mongwame mo ke itseng gore o tswa teng le rona re kopane rotlhe as cooperative governance and intergovernmental relations se re nang le tsone re ka leka go fetola seemo se ba gaetsho ba rona ba iphitlhelang ba le mo go sone go ntle ga go senya nako le amogetswe. Over to you, Deputy Minister.
Thank you so much, Councillor Mabovu, Executive Mayor Phehlo, the Chairperson of Magalies Water Board, Dr. Sebejo, the Chairperson of Limpopo Olifants Catchment Management Agency, Dr. Tato Moeng, the CEO of Magalies is here, the acting CEO of LOCMA is also here. Hey. Okay. Mr. Bokopa, who is standing in for our regional head, Mr. Lukolom Tichani, who unfortunately had a family bereavement over the weekend. Bokosi Obarolomboratsidi that I met this morning and apologize for the delay. The engagement with Khosi Monsiwa took some time because there were a number of issues that he wanted to raise. He's also not well and is on his way to Klerksdorp to get medical attention. Greetings also to the officials of the Department of Water and Sanitation, particularly our enforcement, compliance and monitoring colleagues, to the officials of the Mahikeng local municipality, the officials of the Ngaka Modiri Molema local municipality, led by the mayor, Mr. Lusaba, and all local councillors for Mahikeng and Ngaka Modiri Molema respectively. Good morning to all of you. The last time I was here, it was an intervention meeting where we were engaging Tsoaing local municipality as well as Ramotsere Muilwa on some of the issues that relate to water services. Particularly in the context of the meeting this morning, we are here to assess the state of water pollution, particularly of the Molopo River. We are also going to look at the current state of the Mahikeng and Mabato wastewater treatment plants in terms of their contribution to the pollution that is happening within the water resources of Molopo, also heading into Letlamoreng Dam. Colleagues, over the past year, since August, as the Deputy Minister of Water and Sanitation tasked by the Minister of Water and Sanitation, Mepemi Majodina, to be the custodian of the National Water Act, particularly Section 19 of that Act in terms of the management of water pollution of our water resources, making sure that we're able to take all necessary measures and actions against the pollution of our water resources across the country, with our enforcement colleagues who are often doing assessments and issuing notices and directives in order to be able to appraise municipalities of the extent to which they are polluting. But over and above that, to encourage municipalities to also undertake various programs in and around awareness of water pollution and the actions that communities are taking in as far as contributing towards that pollution. Colleagues, I want to speak very frankly and very openly with you this morning, particularly the MMC, who is representing the executive mayor of the district, as well as the local mayor, as well as the MMs and technical directors of both municipalities. Do you have your MM here?
No, we've got the technical director representing the MM.
Where is the technical director? Mosomontlemme. Do you have the CFO?
The CFO is not present.
Is not present.
But the municipal manager will join us later.
Is the CFO of the district here?
Yeah, she's in office, but then went to court in Ditsobotla. Now she was here, and then there's a matter sitting at Ditsobotla, but the director technically is here. And if CFO Mutloka
Yeah. I think we must always make sure that when we talk about issues of infrastructure, that we've got those who are accounting officers on the finance side to also be here. I think it's important that when we have conversations and engagements of this nature, that all decision makers must be here, particularly those who sign off on payments, because I want them to know why it's important that infrastructure that relates to water and sanitation, particularly in the context of pollution, wastewater infrastructure should be prioritized. When we look at water resources in South Africa, and we speak openly about how they used to be to compare to how they are now. Bontsi ba rona ha re tla re gola re ne re itse gore di river streams di noka matamo yalo yalo ke di area tse ile gore re kgona go ya go tsone ra go itapolosa. Bontsi ba baagi ba ne ba tshwara ditlhapi mo ile gore bongwe ba bone ba tla be ba di tshwara whether for sustenance purposes or whether ke go di rekisa jalo jalo. Re ne re itse go ne go na le maphoi kana maeba ile gore are attracted to the water resources because of the tourism nature and extent thereof and the economical benefits of these particular water resources. Unfortunately, because of the population growth over the past 30 or so years, we have seen the deteriorating nature and extent of our water resources, particularly in the context of pollution. Ele gore, when we look at the investment in infrastructure that has had to happen by municipalities, that has been a fundamental challenge. Where in many instances, instead of building new infrastructure, municipalities have over the years connected communities or households to existing infrastructure, overwhelming it beyond its capacity. These are some of the phenomena that we have seen happen over the years, Executive Mayor MMC, that have led to the current state of infrastructure to be in the position that it is in. Our Green Drop report tells us that the biggest contributor of pollution to our water resources are dysfunctional and critical wastewater infrastructure that are discharging partially treated or untreated sewage. Mo e le gore re bona go phepafadiwa ga kgelelo leswe go sa diragale ka maemo a swantse a diragale ka one because mafaratlhatlha ao a mo maemong a sa itekanelang. The number one reason why we've got collapsing, decaying infrastructure is because of the lack of operation and maintenance, and also the fact that those who are appointed to work at this infrastructure are not qualified to do so. Ga se Seitlholo a reng yalo, it is the assessment that has been done by the National Department of Water and Sanitation. We are finding ourselves in a situation where we have fundamentally and otherwise compromised the health of communities, because on a daily basis they need to live with sewer that is running in their streets and that is running into the rivers and streams. We have compromised the economic beneficiation of what these water resources mean and what they do to communities, because we have undermined operation and maintenance of infrastructure, because we have undermined the implementation of our bylaws in making sure that those who contribute to pollution are able to be held accountable. I want to reiterate what I've been saying for the past year. Everything starts and stops with municipalities. If South Africa is to work, municipalities must work. When Clover left the Ditsobotla local municipality, they did not cite their inability to continue with their operation. They cited the lack of delivery of services from electricity to water to roads as the reason as to why they were leaving. As South Africans, we don't have an appreciation of the beginning of the water value chain. Akere majoro ga ba kwala ditsela ba di kwalla ka gore ga gona metsi a tswang mo ditepeng. Ga ba kwale ditsela, ga ba protest because there is pollution in our water resources. And yet, it is there at the beginning of the value chain that determines the quality of the water that we get in our taps. The group chief executive of Makhalis is here. He will tell you that the more polluted the water that they abstract, the more expensive it is to treat. And the more expensive it is to treat, the more expensive that water services authorities need to purchase the water in bulk, and the more expensive the consumer will need to purchase the water from the WSA. It is a vicious cycle. It is a vicious cycle that South Africans cannot afford. It is a vicious cycle that needs to be taken into consideration and addressed as a matter of urgency. When the president elevated water as priority number 1 in this country, South Africans generally thought that he was prioritizing the end of the value chain, the opening of the tap and the coming out of water. That is what we've been thinking about water. We have never thought about water as the beginning of the value chain, to say the nature and extent of the raw water quality in our water resources where we abstract is fundamentally and otherwise crucial to the end of the value chain where you open the tap and water comes out. There is no appreciation for that. It is a fact. There is no province in this country that I have not traveled. I have visited well over 35, 40 municipalities. And the assessment has been the same. And the conversation has been the same. Over and above the fact that we've got critical wastewater infrastructure, over and above the fact that municipalities and their bylaws are not implemented and geared towards making sure that we're able to enforce our laws in order to be able to take action against companies, communities, and municipalities themselves in addressing the issue of pollution. When you are unable to realize and actively engaged on the value chain of water, you run the risk of focusing only on one aspect and forgetting other aspects that matter. In the Northwest, I don't think there is any municipality that we have taken to court yet for pollution. And unfortunately for you, MMC, Ngaka Modiri Molema, if you look at the 144 water services authorities, Ngaka Modiri Molema is ranked there in the top 20 of the worst performing WSAs in the country. You see, me as Sello Seitlholo, I don't come here and opine. I come here and tell you what the facts are. There are reports that tell us this. There are projects that we can look at that are still standing, that were supposed to benefit people, that are not doing so. This is the reality of where we are. When we talk about water, people are like, Seitlholo, wa go tlala na ge yo tlo bua ka metsi le kgelelo le se go itlhaneng ka gore tota metsi one ga rena one. When I say that the continuation and the presence of water tanker mafias is further perpetuated by those who are officials of municipalities and politicians, people look at me funny. Ha ke re kgato. There is nothing that happens in a municipality without the knowledge of those who are internal. And I'm willing to bet my last 1,000 rand in my bank account on this. If you have contradicting information to what I'm saying, 1,000 rand is yours. Iteng. Nka go na. There is no vandalism of water and sanitation infrastructure that happens without the knowledge of officials and politicians in municipalities. Nka tsaya mosadi wa ka ke beshe ka ene ke mmeha. And ka gore ke yellow bone, I'm sure. It's a fact. You see, my colleague, Deputy Minister Mahlobo, when we started working together, he said something very profound that I only learned a few months into the job. And he said to me, water knows no boundaries. It knows no ideology. That is why South Africa has entered into transboundary relations with countries such as Namibia, Botswana, Lesotho, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, because we share basins. Because water flows. Rivers flow. They don't ask, they flow. An investment, much like water, comes where there is no resistance. While the mayor goes to China to go and source funding for this district in order for you to be able to build infrastructure, the question that we must ask, and investors will ask the question, is what is the level of resistance in your municipality to investment? What are the political dynamics and administrative dynamics of your municipality? If I invest in Ngaka Modiri Molema, what value for money will I be able to abstract in the long term? The architectures of municipalities said that 90% of what will drive the municipality will be based on the revenue that you generate, and 10% will be on the grants. So in essence, a municipality is a business. But how many municipalities have been run as businesses in South Africa over the past 30 years? The Auditor General does not come up with reports, Executive Mayor, that have no bearing on how you have been able to run your municipality. Me, I'm interested in being able to make sure that your children and my children inherit a country that they don't have to pay the sins of our actions. Re na le batho ba ba dumedi, re na le batho ba ba practicang setso bongaka ba Setswana yalo yalo, that want to go to our rivers and dams to go do baptism ceremonies and other related cultural and traditional practices, but they are unable to do so because our rivers, our dams, our streams are deeply polluted. It's a fact. But today, it's not about lamenting on what we already know. Le nna mo Mahikeng, la itse gore Molopo River e ntse yang. You know what is the state of Molopo River. I was there with Khotsi Munsiwa. He took me over the bridge just close to his house. I could see the color of the water tells me gore fa ke sewage hela mo. Here is just sewage that's flowing here. Nothing else. We have given nature the middle finger as South Africans, as leaders. We have given it the middle finger. In essence, we have decided that we are at war with nature. Because otherwise, how do you explain the fact that almost 50% of assessed wastewater treatment infrastructure in this country is either in a critical or collapsing state? How do you explain that? We take from the river, what we give back to the river is in direct conflict with the self-remediation that is supposed to happen. Naturally so. Rivers can clean themselves, Executive Mayor MMC. They are able to do so. They are able to do so. Those of you who have been to Zolplaki local municipality, Kimberley, in their website, they show pink flamingos. They are an attraction. What I found rather ironic, MMC, is that you are marketing your municipality using these beds. Ne? Mare, how feta? You are the person who is directly affecting the population of the very same beds by impacting on their natural habitat, by discharging raw sewage into the pen where they are supposed to actually be living and breeding. And by the way, there is only 3 breeding sites in Africa of that species of flamingos in the entire African continent. And yet where they are supposed to be breeding and living, you have discharged sewer and effectively compromising your own tourism economy. These are my realities. These are my realities. When we go and visit Mabatu Wastewater Treatment Plant and Mahikeng Wastewater Treatment Plant, MMC, I am going to be able to tell you whether this thing is working or not. I will be able to tell you whether this thing is working or not. Their housekeeping will be able to tell me whether this thing is working or not. At what point do we begin to take ourselves seriously and give to nature what we take out from nature? Global warming is a concept. I get MMC. It is a concept that is further. Motho a ka reng ga ke batle go dirisa mafoko a thoga ka tloga ke roga ka batho ke be ke isiwa ko South African Human Rights Commission. Our actions as people are the reason why go na le dinoka tse ile gore 30 years ago they were flowing throughout the year. Today they are seasonal. South Africa is a water scarce country. We're one of 30 countries in the world that are water scarce. And yet, we consume over 270 liters of water per day, compared to the global standard or average of 171 liters. We lose 46% of the water in this country, clean water. We lose 46% of it. On average, if you go to Limpopo and you ask them what their non-revenue water is, it's over $1.5 billion per annum. For purposes of whatever reason, politics or otherwise, municipalities don't want to remove illegal connections. We know people who are illegally connected to the network, both water and sewer. We know who they are. We know people who are not paying for services. We know who they are. But no action is being taken against them. Why? Because when we are supposed to take action against people, we'd rather think about the political ramifications instead of the long-term benefit. How would disconnect about Obama informal settlement thing? Leadership are going to lose votes if we undertake this process. We can't do that. These are the conversations that are happening. When do we get to a point where we take action that is future orientated instead of short-term gains? When do we begin to do that? When do we begin to do that? Rahola, elke mand. Mare so brastag. Re santsane re batla go tsenya menwana le matsogo into the cookie jar. We are a greedy bunch of leaders. Where millions of South Africans are depending on us to bring about change. Re ka nna ra nna corrupt. Corruption has a face. It has a face. Dikeledi tsa rona ga di kitla di wela fo fatshe. A ke re batla go ya go le godimo ga re fetsa go tlogela lefatshe le le ka kwana. Nna ke batla go ya go le godimo yaanong ka gore ke moetsa dibe ga ke itse gore dibe tsa ka ke tse ile gore hara ha ka di lebella o ka re Seitlholo o no itshwere daramo o itse le ha tota o no itshwere mara nka nna ka go tsenya la nka tsena ela ka lenga la seloko mara go tsena ke tla be ke tsena. I want to raise these issues, MMC Executive Mayor, because ultimately as leaders we have a responsibility towards each other to be honest. We're not here to come and sugarcoat each other's feelings. We're not here to make friends. Majoro are tswa re setse re lolo bore o ska batla tlo go nwa whisky le nna Seitlholo le tsompolela dilo di gana go hela mo pele ga batho. These are the people that are depending on our actions to improve their lives. I was saying that North-West Caroline, there's no municipality we have taken to court. Now, I want to say this, Executive Mayor, MMC, we are making amendments to the National Water Act. All of you will know, Executive Mayor, that a municipality is viewed as a juristic person. So, as mayor, the people who must fork the bill are the residents, not yourself. But the amendments to the National Water Act are such that we are bringing now personal liability in line with NEMA. Where we take criminal and civic action against the mayor and MM, they where's the MM? Oh, he left to go to court. You see, that's where Rasul can act is fine, but in a couple of months, in a few years' time, Rasul and the MM will be the ones that take personal liability, not the municipality. So in short, Rasul, we are going to jail. We're going to jail you and the mayors for the pollution of our water resources. That's what we are looking to do. Today I'm sitting here, tomorrow I'm a mayor. But it is to instill a certain sense of responsibility. The municipality, the National Department of Water and Sanitation provides grant funding to municipalities to improve on their water and sanitation infrastructure. Unfortunately, the reality of what is happening with those grants is that once we come in and we intervene and we refurbish, we give you infrastructure that is okay, 2 years down the line, we're back to square one. I'm not painting a good picture. It's a terrible picture, but that is the reality. But we hope that with such engagements, Executive Mayor MMC, we will be able to move towards making sure that we're able to reform ourselves and be able to give priority to our infrastructure. There are innovations, Executive Mayor, that are available from the Water Research Commission from a sanitation point of view, because not all of us are going to have waterborne sanitation. It's a fact. Not all of us are going to have flushing toilets. But there are innovations available to give dignified sanitation, excuse me. But we have to embrace innovation. We need to embrace it. Without us embracing it, there's going to be a very big problem. We need to reduce our non-revenue water, and we definitely need to address the issue of pollution that is emanating from dysfunctional and critical wastewater infrastructure. By the powers vested in me by myself, let me proceed with the agenda as it is before us, and request Ms. Caroline Shai to do a presentation of the state of the Mahikeng and Mabatu wastewater treatment works, which will be followed by the remarks from Rasul, who is standing in for the MM. Kana, what do you do?
Sorry, it's not okay. Good morning. I'm actually the technical director for, it's not okay, known as the Senior Manager Public Works and Basic Services for Nakamura.
So the MMC is your friend. So you and him.
My political head.
Yeah, but yes, in that way. Maybe a friend is a terrible way to explain it. Because now that you'll be accused of many things. All right. Ms. Caroline Shai is our Monitoring, Compliance and Enforcement Director for our office in the Northwest. And she will take us through a very raw presentation, both in detail and in outcome, of the state of the Mabatu and Mahikeng wastewater treatment works. Ms. Shai?
Ke a leboga Deputy Minister and Thobela Executive Mayor, the MMCs, Chairperson of LOCMA, my colleagues ka moka, ke a le dumedisha. Leina la ka ke Caroline Shai. Ke tlo le fa a brief presentation concerning the state of the wastewater treatment works and also Molopo River today. This is brief of what we will be discussing. I'm not going to go through the outline, Deputy Minister. Molopo River starts at the Molopo Eye. Then it goes down, passing through the Mahikeng town, and also along the two dams, which is Letamoreng Dam and Situmo Dam, which are the most important water resources here in Northwest. Major water use activities along this river mainly is the abstraction of the water for domestic purposes and also the discharges that are happening. Deputy Minister, there are some of the activities that are happening from the community members, like the illegal dumping and also the illegal connection of the sewage into the water resources. There are some of the properties whereby you find that they've connected from their houses, and also the backroom dwellers, they connect the pipes into the river. However, Mabatu wastewater treatment works and also Mahikeng wastewater treatment works, they are the major polluters of Molopo River. As the department, we have expressed the concerns over the years, starting from as long as 2012, according to the records. We have been issuing the non-compliance letters, the pre-directives, and the directives. That is the administrative enforcement that we're doing in the department. We've exhausted all, and we've given the WSA the opportunity to respond. But we are receiving little responses from the Ngaka Modiri Molema. In that regard, as of last year, the department, we took a decision whereby we have opened the criminal case against Ngaka Modiri Molema for Mabatu wastewater treatment works and also Mahikeng wastewater treatment works together with the network. I'm mentioning the network because also from the network, Deputy Minister, you know by now that pump stations, manholes, they are all not operational, continuously not operational. Here I've got the slide of the pump station, that is pump station 1, which is connected to Mahikeng pump station. If we can see here, is the manhole that is overflowing. It has even caused like a river going to Molopo River directly. And when you go to the pump station straight, to see that as the WSA, we know the challenge that is happening. They have even dug a trench whereby they're diverting this raw flow, the raw effluent into the rivers. Deputy Minister, these pictures are dated 20 May 2025. I'm indicating the date because we did several inspections and also in preparation to this site inspection. I only want to put the picture that the problem that we are sitting with, to say in May, this is where we are sitting, and then come the next inspection, what were the changes or the status quo. We also did the inspection at the Mahikeng wastewater treatment works. It was not working. You can see here the sludge that has been built into this primary settling tank. And on this angle is the raw sewage discharged out into the environment. It has been bypassed, going out to the environment. This is the picture of the biological nutrient removal. It's one of the modules in Mahikeng wastewater treatment works, not operating. On top is the layer of the buildup of sludge. There was supposed to be the aerators rotating, mixing the sludge, but nothing was working. The major impact is visible when coming to Letlamoreng Dam, because the dam is becoming eutrophic due to the high nutrient loads that are discharged into this water resource. From Mabato wastewater treatment works and also the pump station, also we're sitting with the problem of operation and maintenance. There's very poor operation and maintenance happening there, and the poor effluent quality that is discharged into the water resources. Also, if you can see here, colleagues and the Deputy Minister, you can see the layer of sludge to indicate that this unit is not operating, and looking on the reeds that are overgrown here, definitely they are tampering with the system to perform efficiently. We also highlighted the impact in Sidumo Dam, which is also becoming eutrophic. And we should also take into consideration that Mabato water treatment works abstract raw water from this Sidumo Dam. Letlamoreng Dam feeds into the Sidumo Dam, then the impact is that, or the risk is that we are having the abstraction point for the water treatment works. We did the desktop compliance on our IRIS system, Deputy Minister and also the colleagues, to assess the performance of Mahikeng and also Mabato wastewater treatment works. They are here on these lines. You can see on the microbial compliance, they are still sitting on 0.0. The date of this data is May 2024 up until May 2025. So there was 0 compliance for the microbial. Chemical, they were sitting less than 37% compliance. The physical, they were on 77 and also 72% compliance. Whereas when we go to the operational, we're having the 0 zeros. So this means that there is no operational monitoring that is taking place. We know that each and every 2 hours they're supposed to analyze, so nothing is happening in Mmabatho and also Mahikeng wastewater treatment works. My next slide here is indicating the other challenge that we're sitting with in addition to Mahikeng and also the Mmabatho water treatment works. We've got the Bophelong Hospital, they've got the wastewater treatment works. Also, it is not performing very well. Compliance part, there are 0 no information is uploaded on the IRIS system by the Department of Public Works. The other slide here is indicating the concerns that I spoke about to say, also the business along the Molopo River, they are impacting. Here we can see that it is the sewage going into the water resources, raw sewage, and also there are some illegal obstruction. But however, let's take into consideration that as the department, we have initiated some regulatory work against these water users. The next slide will be talking about it. In Ngakamodiri Molema, starting from 2012, August 2024, from the department, we have issued them with a pre-directive for the sewer spillages that are happening from Pump Station 1 and non-functioning of Mmabatho wastewater treatment works and Mahikeng wastewater treatment works. So colleagues, from 2012, today being 2025, we're still talking about the very same Pump Station 1 and the sewage works that are not operational. There's another pre-directive that we issued in 2017. This one was addressing Pump Station 12 that is connected to Mmabatho wastewater treatment works. There's a directive that has been issued in 2017. 2018 also, we issued another directive because of the non-operationalization of this sewage works. And in 2022, we issued another directive for the main holes, Pump Station 1 and 12 that are spilling into the Molopo River. In 2023, November, we had a challenge here in Ngakamodiri Molema, whereby there was a sewer collapse at Bray Street. It was a major sewer collapse. The process of fixing it took place. Even today it's not yet fixed. So the sewage is still going into Molopo River. From the department side, we have issued Ngakamodiri Molema with a directive for the sewer collapse that is in Bray Street. And also we included the Mmabatho and Mahikeng wastewater treatment works together with the network that are not operating. 2024 February, that is when we did the decision to open the criminal case against the municipality. The investigation is underway. Here I only indicated the two activities that are happening, the Bellington Tavern and the Maseru, indicating that we've already started with the pre-directive and very soon we'll be issuing them with the directive because we just did the follow-up inspection. The status quo is the same. And the challenge that we are sitting with from the municipality side, I'm looking at you, Ndati Rasul, because you know when we went there, our officials indicating the problem that is happening. From the community, they posed the question back to the officials to say, even if you are talking about pollution minimization from our side, that we must not pollute, but we can connect to the sewer line. Still, this sewage is not treated. It goes directly into the water resources. So it's the challenge that they're sitting with to say they are paying, but still, the pollution will still happening downstream. But however, from our side, we are doing our part. We will continue with our enforcement actions. Bophelong Hospital, we are also in the process of issuing Department of Public Works with the directive. So far, we were issuing them with the non-compliance letters. Challenges that we're sitting with, Deputy Minister and the colleagues, is that WSA is not operating. treatment works, they are not qualified. You go to Mahikeng wastewater treatment works, only the general workers are operating the wastewater treatment works. It's the serious challenge that we are sitting with. There's a slow process for municipality to appoint the qualified process controllers. There's a lack of commitment from the WSA to provide the representations to the department, because we will be requesting to say within the specific time frames, give us the representation, give us the action plan on what we'll be doing, but we are not getting any responses coming from the municipality side. WSA does not conduct effluent quality monitoring and does not disinfect the effluent. This is another challenge that is happening. However, we are continuing as the department with the enforcement cases. Like as we said, criminal case already has been opened. The recommendation that we have put forward here, we are saying Agamodiri Mulema must prioritize funding to appoint the professional service providers to do the O&M for these two plants. They must also enforce the bylaws to improve and also improve the public education and awareness. Also, we are saying Agamodiri Mulema, if ever they can commit on addressing the pollution challenges, and also they must provide the monthly progress report to the department, or even if it's quarterly progress report, to show that the problem that we're sitting with, it is not only theirs, then they communicate that to us. My last slide is taking me to the site inspection that we did on the 5th of August. I'm gonna quickly run through so that I indicate the status quo in brief. We're struggling to put it in the presentation mode. On the 5th of August, when we did our site inspection, it was during peak hours. This is the situation that the inlet was at the Mabat wastewater treatment works. Here we can see the poor disposal of this grit. Yes, that have been removed from, yes. Mechanical screen was not operational on the 5th at Mabato wastewater treatment works. So removal of the screens, it was by manual, which is sometimes not effective, because you'll find that when you go to the primary settling tanks and the BNR, there will be some more solids. The grid chamber also, it was not working. There was no electricity at this part of the wastewater treatment works. When we are asking, they're saying because of vandalism and theft that happened some months ago. There are 3 primary settling tanks, all of them, they were not operational. Three modules are there at the plant. Only one module was partially operating. We said partially because in that module, 3 of the 4 mixers were not working. 1 of 2 recyclers was working, and only 1 of the aerators was working. That is on the 5th of August. Module 2 and 3, they were completely not operational. All the 3 settling tanks were not operational. Drying beds, and also the disinfection part, they were all not operational. Here at the contact tank, we can see the green color. The flow has been diverted. It doesn't go through the contact tank. So from the sewage works, it has been diverted directly into the water resource doesn't pass through the contact tank. That is why here the water is so eutrophic, it doesn't move. Also, there is a poor sludge management at Mabatu wastewater treatment works. Sludge is disposed in the sludge lagoons on the other side of the sewage works. Sludge lagoons are not unlighted, they are just the ponds, then they go and dump the sludge there. Partially treated effluent is discharged into the dam. This is the part of the effluent that goes into the dam. We can also see the foam indicating the nutrient loads, the phosphates that are going into the dam. We also went to pump station number 12. This pump station, Deputy Minister, when you were here last time, they were busy fixing it. So it was looking okay, maintenance part, it was cleaned, but only one pump was operational, the other one is not yet operational. This is a risk because if ever this operational pump trips, then meaning it's not operating at all. Going to Mahikeng wastewater treatment works, at the inlet, there is a line that is coming from the Bophelong Hospital. It was directly bypassed to the discharge point with no treatment. The inlet was also not operational. Mahikeng wastewater treatment works, when we did the walk around, there was no unit that was operating. Everything was not operational. These are the BNRs. Secondary settling tanks also, nothing was working. Sludge discharge into the river. I'm clicking the video, I hope it will not fail me, so that we see the carryover sludge going into the water resources. The color of the water is dark, smell was unbearable. There are some thicker parts in the water, that is sludge going out to the river. Mahikeng wastewater treatment works pump station. It was not working. Here at the bottom is a thick layer of sludge indicating that the pump station was blocked and the main hole was overflowing. There is a house number 22, just not far from the pump station. They've got the problem with the sewage. The sewage flowing from the house going out to the street, passing through the, the door. And the house seems to be like it's abandoned, people are no longer staying there. When we asked the neighbors, they said no, because of this sewage is bothering them. So, in that house, they connected the pipe from the main hole that is in the yard and then going into the road, flowing out, going to the water resource. Mahikeng wastewater treatment works pump station, only one of the two pumps was operational. The flow was channeled into the environment. We spoke about this, the situation was still the same. Here we've got the last video indicating the pump station, number 1 that is there in Mahikeng. The area tends to be waterlogged because of the sewage. That will be there all the time. There is a main hole here. This main hole has been like this ever since. Today is fixed, tomorrow is overflowing. It stopped. What did I do? Just at the back of these trees that are here, colleagues and Deputy Minister, is Molopo River. That goes to Khoshi's place. The video is stuck, but we can pass. Along the road, we could see that there was sewer pipeline that was being fixed in Denville, which was the good thing. And that is it, colleagues. When we were preparing this site, from the 5th of August, on Friday, the colleagues went to the site. The status quo was still the same. Yesterday, during the dry run, when we go to the site as the department, we found that Mabatu wastewater treatment works was still the same, but Mahikeng wastewater treatment works was operational. Pump station 4 was still blocked. Pump station 1, the manhole was operational. Looking at the timeframes, from the 15th, which is on Friday, then we go there on Sunday. Some other units are operational. Then this now leads to the fact that as the municipality, actually we can work on these matters to be solved. It's just a matter to say the municipality must put some sustainable measures in place. Because if ever they've been fixed over the weekend, then it's possible, it's doable. That is my remarks in conclusion. Thank you. I didn't say that, but I'm saying it's possible. Because from Friday they were not working, but yesterday they were working.
Okay, now you can
Thank
switch
you.
off your mic, it's fine. Okay, that is the presentation. I was fortunate enough to have received the presentation last week already, or a week or so ago. Before we get to the responses from Rasul and team, Rentutang, I want to get an understanding of, in terms of the raw water quality of Situmo Dam, what is it like? Has there been any significant challenges in as far as that current state of the raw water quality is concerned, and how it has affected your abstraction and treatment, and whether the cycle that I was referring to, why are you guys being unruly? Oh, councillor, ke ne ke sa go kopa. Oh, we team phone ya gagwe. I want to get an understanding based on the presentation. What is happening there? And whether what I reiterated, which you of course know because I've said this many times in your presence, whether that is the case.
Ke a leboga, Deputy Minister Madube, who the Executive Mayor, the DM, MMC is present, the Chairperson of OCMA, colleagues, I think you can hear me. All right. As you had initially indicated, DM, the situation is really impacting us as Magalies Water. We are monitoring the raw water before we abstract. That is the abstraction point we are monitoring. And I can say that when we look and quarter to quarter, the situation has not been improving. The total coliform has been in the regions of 6,000. Your turbidity has been very high. Alkalinity was also very high. What we are also experiencing, which we have seen in the pictures, that high algae content that we are having there. It's impacting us quite a lot because what it does is that it reduces the throughput, especially from the Mabatu plant, because we have to frequently back wash the filters. It also impacting on the aesthetics compliance. Issues like your odor is also impacted, color is also impacted. So what it need is for us to increase our chemical dosing to be able to deal with these high nutrients that we are receiving from the raw water, which lead into other challenges within the operational compliance, like your trihalomethane that will start developing due to us including or disinfecting with high chlorine demand there. Other challenges of 2-MIB, your jasmine, is also challenges that we are finding within this water. What the presentation also DM did not indicate is that compounded to these wastewater treatments that are not working for Mahikeng, Bophelong, and Mmabatho, there is also service providers that are running honeysuckers that are disposing directly to the dam, and that is also increasing the nutrient loading. So that we need to ensure that we start the regulation. Other service providers that are also doing the chemical toilets, their disposing directly into the stream is also really a problem because we see that high loading that is seasonal, that is coming from all this is also really a problem because we see that high loading that is coming and chemical disposal. Strict side in terms of management of these businesses, they must make sure that they introduce bylaws to control their disposal. They must have the disposal license to show that they are disposing to a wastewater treatment plant that is run by the department. And also just an awareness campaign to the communities to make sure that if they see these tendencies, they should report so that there should be some actions that are taken. Thank you, Edia.
Thank you very much, Reng Tutang. I wanted to specifically deal with that issue because I wanted you to paint a picture that when I say these things, I'm not exaggerating. And I'm not saying them because I want to show people off. The moment that we apply rands and cents, I think it's the moment that people will be able to have a greater appreciation of why it is so important for us to begin to address this issue of pollution. Nako nngwe ha o bua la puo e sa attach to anything. Ke tu bua fela. Ba tle ba re mo politiking you are blowing hot air. So now I'm not in the business of blowing hot air. I am not in the business of being an empty can being kicked around mostrati. That's not my business. And I think there is a greater emphasis on public awareness. But Executive Mayor, you cannot undertake public awareness if you don't have the resources to manage and go with that public awareness. Ke tla go direla sekai. If the local municipality has got a waste management strategy, that waste management strategy has to have public awareness at the top. But then there must also be bins, there must be skips, there must be regular collection of waste. All of those things go together. You can't go to people and say, "Tlogelang go latlhela dilo mo ditamong." Ba ba go botsa potso, "Wa re di latlhele kae?" Because you don't have the skips and the waste collection infrastructure that you give to them. Khosi Muntsiwa ona bemoana that fact to say, "Obona all of this solid waste, budi plastiki, budi botolo, budi ing, waste is wealth." So, I don't know, do with that information as you will, but waste is wealth. So, bemoaning the fact that There isn't regular if the collection is non-existent. And if you look at the pictures that Caroline displayed, and if you take those out and put it into residential areas, there are residential areas where there are dumping sites. In those dumping sites, there are no skip bins. Pollution isn't only, yes, the majority of the pollution happens because of the situation that's been presented, but the contributory factor, the human contributory factor, is also there. It's very much there. So all of these things, they reaffirm the point that I was making. If South Africa is to work, municipalities must work. We can't continue in this way. Wait, ha gona motho ntenang ya ka motho o itshela moruti o tsididi. Ekete, you don't know something. Mara wa sitsi. Simple things. When you are in a taxi, motho hela just happy. Ha etsa o bula festere le tlhapa phefola taxi o latlhela. Those small things are the reason why today Renal is such a huge crisis ka waste management. Huge crisis. Even our schools, ha go sa tlhole go na le di-programs tse di dealang ka waste that are educating our children in school. They are no longer there. Go tshwana hela le sekreste se se tswileng ko dikolong. That is why o bona go na le tlhaka-tlhaka yona ko dikolong. Le ntshitse thapelo ko dikolong. Hey, ke ta ke jong ko itse. Stress sa ka se go godimo. Rasul, in your presentation, please don't narrate to me. Don't narrate to me. Tell me, based on the presentation that has been made by our Compliance, Monitoring and Enforcement Officer, tell me, in response to the presentation, don't come with your own presentation, in response to the presentation, what is the situation? But over and above that, what assistance is needed by the WSA from our side as a department? Because what I can tell you now, as a matter of fact, is that I'm going to push very hard on the criminal cases. That I will say without any fear, favor, or contradiction. I'm going to push very hard on the issue of criminal cases. In fact, in parallel with civil charges as well. Not just criminal. Criminal takes a lot of time. I've got a meeting that we are going to have with the Director of Public Prosecutions on how we can expedite the investigation of pollution so that we can begin to get people taking accountability. It can't take us 3 to 5 years to finalize one single case of pollution because that investigation does not stop pollution. In fact, during those investigations, pollution becomes more rife, and we can't accept that. So, we're against time, and I would appreciate it if we could get those responses. And then I will invite my colleagues to also then deposit. Thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. Once again, I'm Mohammed Rasool, the Senior Manager, Public Works and Basic Services. DM, I've heard you. I'll take you quickly through it's a short presentation, and it does, within the presentation, provide some responses. Other responses I will then verbally speak to, also with the assistance of my colleagues that are here from the department, DM. Perhaps just before I start, just one thing I want to do, talk on, because it's not within the presentation, is the Bray Road sewer spillage that was there and wherein we received a directive for it. The matter was since attended to DM, together with Mahikeng local municipality, where in the spillage there was a pipeline that had collapsed, and not at one point, at 3 different points, which over a period of time we managed to repair the pipeline. However, over and above that, the entire, let me call it the entire network, water and sanitation network of the Mahikeng area has reached its lifespan. The sanitation network, that particular pipeline was well over 50 years. It had collapsed. We had then since registered a project under the municipal infrastructure grant of upgrading that particular Sewer Bray Road pipeline DM. The project was registered, approved by DWS, approved by COCTA, and we'd since appointed a contractor to start with that project. And that's a portion, a small portion of the sewer, the bulk sewer pipeline that needs to be replaced, but also a critical portion. However, it's not to say the rest of the infrastructure is not critical, it's just as critical. But we'll perhaps go through that afterwards. In terms of my presentation, DM, I'm going to get straight into it. At Mahikeng wastewater treatment works, the motor control center is now functional. It was non-functional, DM. In May, we had appointed a service provider that started on site in April, actually, DM. He was on site. He unfortunately had to leave in between due to payment frustrations. It was financial year end and other challenges that we had faced as a municipality, which then forced or got the situation, took us back. And it's not to say that you're here and we had the pump stations fixed over the weekend, DM, but it was that we managed to get the service provider paid and he's now back on site. And hence why there's been a bit of progress that's been made. But there was progress that had started a while back. It may not be great, but it's a stepping stone towards where we want to get. I'll go through that's just a picture, DM, of the motor control center. You can see the picture on the left-hand side where it was completely stripped, there was nothing, and your two pictures on the right-hand side where we've now refurbished that center there. And then in terms of the inlet works, a new motor is installed on a mechanical screen. However, the mechanical part is not yet done, hence it's not yet functional as per the latest assessment by DWS. And then a mini pump station was designed to accommodate raw sewage from the Bopilong Hospital and septic tanks there. The pump is still yet to be installed on the designed mini pump station there. And then in terms of the inlet work, alignment and readjustment of the chains and pulleys to be done on the mechanical screen, which would then lead us to the functionality of the inlet works. That's just some pictures. That's actually on the left-hand side is that manhole from the Bopilong Hospital that shows the spillage there. And on the right-hand side, it's just indicating the work that's been done there in terms of the designed diversion so that we try and control and stop that overflow from the manhole that's spilling directly into the Molopo River and then divert it with a pump station to the Mahikeng wastewater treatment works. And then the BNR of two out of the three aerators are running. One aerator needs a new coupling fabrication, and then your high sludge rust pumps, your 1 out of 2 operational, and your sludge blowers, 1 is operational and 1 needs refurbishment. Coupling of the aerator number 3 needs to be fabricated, and then the commissioning of rust pump number 2 still needs to be done. This is basically the picture of the BNR at the Mahikeng wastewater treatment works. You can see on the left-hand side, it's the same picture, DM, that DWS had presented as well. But on the right-hand side, you can see 2 of the aerators are functional there. It's still work in progress. Of the clarifiers, 3 out of the 4 clarifiers are operational. Cleaning and installation of the new center bearing and commissioning of clarifier number 4 is currently what needs to be done and ongoing there. That's just some of the pictures of the clarifiers. We're on the left-hand side, you can see it's not functional at all. And the 2 pictures on the right-hand side, you're seeing that there are those that are now functional. And then basically the effluent contact channel, which is operational cleaning of contact channel, is in progress. There's still some work that's happening there. You can see on the left-hand side, it's one of the pictures that were also presented there. And on the right-hand side is a picture of us basically dealing with the cleaning there of the contact channel. And then your Mabatu wastewater treatment works, DM, this one we've still got a lot to do. There hasn't been much that has been done here. What we've done is with the service provider we've appointed, he started at the Mahikeng with the pump stations that were not operational, your pump station number 12, your pump station number 4. So that work had started, and he's now moving on to assisting at Mabatu. So Mabatu, there isn't much progress that has been registered. What I can say there is that there's cleaning of the wastewater treatment plant in progress still. Not much has been done. Inspection of the operational equipment has been complete, and then material to upgrade the primary sedimentation tanks. Electrical panel has been procured, and we are awaiting installation on that there. What we need there is to repair, replace in all dysfunctional operational equipment at the plant, which is still a lot of work that needs to be done there. In terms of your major pump stations that we've highlighted, there's just one that we don't have here. It's number 1. But number 12, DM, it's one of the pump stations that you had visited before. It's now operational. Still, the second pump needs to be installed. Now, DM, I'll come to that and I'll explain in terms of a budget as a municipality. We're depending on our operational and maintenance budget on our equitable share. And what we're trying to do is trying to get as much of the equipment functioning as possible, and then deal with now so when we got there at pump station number 12, we dealt with your primary pump, got it operational so that it can run. We've got the service provider on site, and now the following work is yet to now unfold in terms of most of our pump stations that were not functional is your backup pumps. So we need to yet repair the backup pump at number 12, number 4 as well. We need to repair the backup pump as well as number 10, which is at Mega City. And then number 7 is still dysfunctional, DM. We currently got the service provider out, and he's dealing with the repairing of the pumps at pump station number 7. In terms of just trying to assist or stop the spillage at Molopo River, we've stopped the raw sewage that was flowing directly to the river by creating a diversion and a pump station.
You are trying to muzzle us.
No,
Now
no,
the
dear.
mayor is waiting. Man, Rasul, don't do that.
No, I'll correct it, DM, I'll correct it. And then, DM, one of our, so 2 challenges is physical assistance or strength in terms of process controllers and staff, compliant staff or competent staff rather, let me put it. And another one is funding. Where request for funding has been submitted to COCTA as well, which I'll dwell into now. In terms of the process controllers, DM, we have in the last year appointed 5 process controllers, but it's not even a drop into what we require across our wastewater treatment plants across the district. We've got them split along different municipalities, whereas we probably need between 3 and 4, depending on the class of the plant, per wastewater treatment plant. Now, the challenge there comes in, DM, is that we've got a budget, and our current employee cost sits at almost at around 39 to 40%. And we then limited in terms of how many staff every year we allowed, how many additional staff we allowed to appoint. 4 years ago, we appointed 4 senior technicians that are responsible for wastewater treatment plants. The next was now the additional of 5 process controllers. We have also looked into realigning our organogram, DM, wherein we dealt with and we've worked with DWS and restructured our organogram that deals with each individual wastewater treatment plant within our organogram, where previously it was generally a holistic organogram that had under wastewater treatment plants. It wasn't dealt with individuals. And then DM, the financial constraints as we have it there is we only depend on the equitable share. The municipality requires about 200 million for the full refurbishment on both wastewater treatment plants, including 16 pump stations. The municipality has only managed to budget 24 million rand in total for the 2 wastewater treatment plants and the pump station for the 25-26 financial year. We have made submissions for funding requests over and above this year, DM. I mentioned the infrastructure, a general water and sanitation infrastructure across the district municipality that's currently collapsing. We've submitted an application to Infrastructure South Africa, and the application was for a total of 20 billion rand. Of the 20 billion rand, 10 billion was allocated for or the request was for the Midval project, and 10 billion was then for other projects. And of the 10 billion DM, 8 billion request was for the upgrading of water and sanitation infrastructure across the district municipality. That's generally, or what that indicates is the age of our infrastructure across the district municipality. It's not just Mahikeng that has it, it's Zeres, it's Ditsobotla, Ramotsere, it's Tsoaing, it's Delareval, it's Ottersdal, where we need to upgrade all this infrastructure. So currently those are our major challenges. And in terms of the infrastructure South Africa application DM, the only reason we failed was we were not the top application in the sector, meaning there was another application that was considered a priority over our application. So we had met all the requirements, we had successfully applied. You know, a lot of municipalities do apply, and they would then get feedback to say, you haven't complied, you haven't completed this, you haven't submitted technical reports, or you haven't had a letter or a council resolution taken that you can apply to infrastructure South Africa. So we had met all the requirements. However, within the sector, there was another application that was considered as priority over ours, DM. DM, I think I've dealt with what I can remember. If there is anything else, I will then come in. And my colleagues, thank you, DM.
Thank you very much for the response to that presentation of DWS by Ms. Shai. Caroline? You are fine. You sure?
Yes, I'm okay, thank you.
Resonate. Are you fine? But we met when I was here the last time. Is there something you want to deposit, or has Rasul covered you?
DM, I just want to.
Catchment Management Agency Advocate Tato Mweng. I've got the chairperson.
You wanted to know where is the CFO. You wanted to know where is the MN. And that one settled very well with me actually when you asked those questions. Because I think it is very, very crucial and very important that the BTO of the municipality should be in meetings of this nature. Because our main challenge here in the municipality is that you see, DM, when a team of football plays,
When we are speaking about the state of water pollution and the impact it has on those who are supposed to abstract and treat the water to potable standards. Khakiti, advocate ka gore we are not fully commissioned as a CMA to come and be able to really deal with the issues on the ground. But perhaps yourself and Mr. Matebula would want to deposit some comments based on both the presentations.
Yes, thank you so much, DM. Yes, DM, I do have tshwaelo ka di two presentations tse di dirilweng gompieno. Last week ne re attendile summit in relation to water investment. And what I took from that summit, ke gore he o batla any type of assistance, whether ke technical or financial, o tshwanetse o bue puo ya investor, tshwanetse o bue puo ya the funder, motho o mo kopang madi. So he le gore re yaka municipality re mo situation e leng hore e masisi yaka e. We have to get our house in order. We have to have what we call an enabling environment. Meaning the regulations tsa rona tshwantse di eme pila, tshwantse re ire bonnete ba gore enforcement le compliance ya iragala. Tshwantse re ire bonnete ba gore when it comes to licensing or breach, re tsa dikgato. Ki itumela ga DM a tlhalositse gore o tlo go focusa thata mo letlheng la criminal cases. I can tell you now, having sat at other boards and particularly audit committees, tshwantse re tlhakane, because most departments, they are well ahead in terms of the criminal cases and civil cases, litigation. Now, we don't have to go. Ke tsela e telele, ke bona di enforcement notices di a ntshiwa, ke tsela e telele and e leng gore is painful and ya dura. Our legal services, they are patalwa, and these cases can drag on for years and years. But in closing, ke tlo go kopa gore ya e thata DM ka gore the MM and the CFO ga ba teng fa. Ka gore this is some of the issues tse leng gore they need to go into executive meetings and management meetings. Now, we're also not going to look outside in terms of the criminal cases or civil cases. The AG, since last year, has been on the rounds about lack of consequence management internally. It cannot be that and then no one is taking accountability. So, DM, ke tlo go stop for. Thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Matebula. Okraning PhD, ke go bitsa Dr. Matebula.
Soon, DM. I'm getting it from my mother next to me. I listen to my parents. Thank you, DM. Let me appreciate the presentations and let me observe protocol in the House. Before I forget, I want to appreciate the status of the streets in Mahikeng has changed over the years. I worked here for about 4 years. Many years ago, we were known as the city of plastics on the streets, and that has changed. Let me appreciate that. It looks small, but it is very big. It's got a huge impact. DM and colleagues, the presentations were very depressing, to say the least, but the situation can be changed. I think what we need to be looking at is the model that we are using to execute water service provision in the district. We need to look deep into that, and we need to look at how do we de-risk all these things where we rely heavily on service providers and we are not even able to pay them on time. And that's a huge risk. I jokingly thought I was not even entertaining the issue of hangpal. Mara ngathi kuyofuna yo reconsider DM when it comes to environmental pollution. At least maybe we can set the record straight. But seriously, we need to look at what instruments are there in government to assist the district. DM, we have your Section 63 in the Water Services Act, which Minister can activate to try and assist. Exactly what we did with Mfuleni, local municipality. Because when I look at these conditions, they're exactly like Mfuleni. You have manholes overflowing into the environment. And it's so sad because the Northwest relies a lot on groundwater as well. If you look at that sewage that seeps into the underground water, that becomes a problem even for the future. we are actually poisoning our own groundwater sources gradually. So I think if we can look at those instruments that are there, the new Water Act is going to be very strict in terms of a water service provider. You are going to have, you must have a license to operate a water treatment works or sewage treatment works. So, and these are the things that municipalities should be training themselves, preparing themselves to qualify for that. Otherwise, the government is going to impose to you qualified service providers that you have to pay. And that takes away your capacity as a water service provider status. So it is very, very important for us to look at those instruments that are available to assist the municipality. When I was here running the water treatment systems, what kept us awake was a possibility of a breakout of like waterborne diseases in the city. And I think Moghalis is not sleeping as well, just because of that. Because you can imagine if you wipe up half of Mahikeng, because some of the sewage broke into the drinking water system, now ending up into people's taps. That could be a national disaster. So these are the things that really keeps the institutions awake. I will pause there, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister, and thanks to the two presentations that were made. Deputy Minister, I think when we look for solutions, we should try to think out of the box or go out of ourselves. Quite obviously, from the presentation that Mr. Rasool made, the district municipality is struggling. It will take a long time before the two wastewater treatment plants are actually refurbished and dealt with. I was looking at him, I think he said they need about 200 million. They have budgeted 24, which is 2.4%. So at that pace, I'm not sure what it will take. I think the district municipality must think out of the box and say, who else can we bring in to come and assist? And DM, I say this in every meeting that I get opportunity to have an ear such as yours and the rest of the leadership in the department, that maybe there has to be a conversation between DWS and COGTA that seriously look at the issue of the conditionality to qualify as a WSA. I know that people do not like this, but it is the truth that we must speak when things are like this. We need to look at that. Lastly, DM, as the water board, Mahikeng Water does have the capacity to deal with some of these things, but I'm worried that if even for those things that the municipality has gotten directives and everything on, they do not have enough budget. All what we want, and this is also within my responsibility, to tell this truth, that we don't do anything for mahala. We need to be paid to do certain things. But surely we can come and bring our heads together and say, how best can we deal with the situation at hand? Because this situation, DM, threatens life, and I'm worried. Thank you.
Rentutang.
No, thanks, DM. I think I'm covered with my earlier comments. Thank you.
Okay. All right. You got congratulations on the roads. Ke go phapatele matsogo. because if it's Matebula who is saying it, I'm compelled to agree with him. He's a very good friend of mine. You have seen the presentations. You've heard the remarks and the comments from the colleagues. It is your municipality. It is your community, your communities. And I wonder how then do you begin to respond as the executive mayor of a local municipality that is really hampered by what, in essence, Dr. Sebego, would be a humanitarian crisis. It's a human, South African Human Rights Commission, ga e ka tla fa ya tla go dira dipatlisiso tse di maleba in as far as these presentations are concerned, mongwe ene wa go findiwa guilty. And you are quite correct also, there has to be a time where we think outside the box. Mr. Matebula mentions the reforms of the Water Services Act, where we introduced licensing for WSPs. The other issue, Mr. Matebula, in respect of Section 63, there are limitations to it. And also we need to come with our own budget as a department. You know, and that's a fundamental problem that the minister also has, to say, now we are the ones who must come with this money. Where are we going to get it from? There's been budget cuts and all of those other things over time. And that is a problem. But we must explore. We have to. There's no other way. We have to explore. We have to make sure that we begin to address this situation quite comprehensively. Majoro.
Okay, no, thank you so much. Obereka mongaka. Which one? Okay, I gotta go na bothata. Okay, thank you. No, thank you so much, DM, for your visit as well. And I must greet everyone who's here, the entire collective that came with you, including the stakeholders, Tsabo, Mahalis, different municipalities that are here. I see different offices from the Premier's office and others. Let me just say in short, all protocol observed. Now, dear, I must say, I should thank first of all Mr. Matebula. Is it Mr. Matebula?
Yes.
Yeah, soon to be Dr. Matebula, for the kind words, and indeed we are trying our best to change the outlook of Mahikeng, especially when it comes to infrastructural development. Now, I've been taking notes, DM. One of the interesting submission which was made is the one that was coming from Ntate Senwedi. It clearly shows that there's something wrong. People can die of cholera. He's highlighting what one could say we are heading for a humanitarian crisis. What he just said, it clearly shows that something needs to be done urgently. I hope without pointing accusing fingers, really we have to strengthen our, is it IGR or DDM, in our case, GNU must enforce it to protect the livelihood of our people, ourselves included as well. Now, maybe he said behind cameras, maybe he would want to say much that he can't say in the public meeting. What is important, DM, we've been doing our own observations as well as the Mahikeng local municipality, while working closely with the district municipality. Some of the crises which I've been requesting, and I'm here speaking on behalf of our people, and I'm not sure if they are aware, Mashai, is it Shai? I only know the surname, Patrick Shai. Now, the crisis, for example, in Ward 17, Lomanyaneng. I don't know if you are aware of the case. Yeah, I don't know what was happening. We had requested from both the department, including the district municipality, with the underground water which was coming out in underground, and including in people's houses. Nothing has been done, and people are waiting for answers. metsi a tswa ko kae a tsena mo matlong a bone. Now, I'm going there as I represent our communities. Now, I still want to know metsi a tswa ko kae and what was causing those whatever underground water which was coming underneath in people's houses. We need to work with speed, and something which has been raised, DM. So certain people or business people around Mahikeng, mainly those who are doing business with the honeysuckers, a certain establishment discharging waters, pipe water inside the Molopo River, just next to, I think, starting, the area of starting. We know those establishments, and I think including here is the Water Authority, Mo District Municipality, they know those establishments, either in a form of babambana le di accommodations, the flat or the hostels. Instead of doing those things, they're discharging inside the rivers, including other establishments which you have just mentioned there. Saying DM, which I was noting them down, we must take them serious, and I hope after this observation, must note those things down. It's a part here, how do we do our rainwater harvesting? You can see that they are blocking the streams are not that clear. The water is just flowing underneath. And I'm seeing these things. I observe a lot when I go around. Oh. It's fine. It's about okay. Now, rally voice is but let me just do this thing. How do we do such things? I'm saying here, DM, you know, we once had a crisis, a serious crisis in Mahikeng. We had the Bray Road pipe. It's a parcel and when we were doing it, now we had to intervene as a, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, no, it's very clear. I hope I say sabotage. Now, key a crisis here. Now, we had to work closely with the district municipality. Remember, I'm not raising this things that is in and that there are, so don't get me wrong, my colleagues as well. Now, as Mahikeng Razwa, we fixed the pipe, which does not even fall under the asset register of our municipality. And you even struggle to get your payments. We're busy also daily in that is already fixing pump stations, which do not also fall under the asset register of Mahikeng. And really we're struggling to even get the payments. I think you're correct, DM, what you were saying. Maybe the accounting officer and the CFO could have been here. Why do we keep on doing the work for our sister municipality and we are not getting what is due to us? I'm saying this thing, DM, maybe perhaps if you had time, we just built a water lab, the first of its kind in the province. And we thought maybe it would be a DDM model working together with other neighboring municipalities, including the district municipality. The water lab is there, complete, just waiting to be equipped. And I think we are close to equipment, MMC, are we equipping our water lab? We are in the process of equipping that water lab. And I'm seeing this thing, even you know we had some few months ago, DM, I was whispering to you, and this is what I want, that Mahikeng local municipality, in the presence of everyone, we are lobbying for that water authority to come to our side. I'm seeing this thing coming from the frustrations of our people. I said, you know, the stench that is coming from Denville, every time I offer the Denville Bridge, people are living in very, very bad conditions. And I'm seeing these things, we need to see how properly we can work together to try to answer to these challenges which our people are facing. But and also, DM, we have more than 100 villages just falling under the jurisdiction of Mahikeng. People are having a serious crisis of getting waters in these areas. You know, last time, 3 weeks ago, the community of Ramatlabama had blocked the border gate coming from Botswana to Mahikeng. And we had to take even our fire trucks to fill in the water tanks there. This is a daily crisis which we are facing as a local municipality. Without having all these responsibilities, well, we are doing our part, but we wish that at least our counterparts should play their role as well. And I hope that after this meeting, perhaps also your support coming from the department. Now, Ntate Sinwedi raised certain concerns, which I think I would want to understand him from a distance. But intervention here alone to support the district municipality, I can just imagine the pressure on their shoulders. They're going through a lot. Starting from the executive mayor, Ntate Molefe, the pressures that he's getting also from the institution. I don't know whether it's political or administrative, but we need to sort out all those challenges that we're facing from this municipality, because they are overseeing about 5 municipalities. And all of us were complaining. At least I'm seeing that maybe as part of our obligation to answer to these challenges of water authority. But what is important again, the ecosystem of Mahikeng is under a severe pressure. And we've seen last year when the Brave Road pipe had bursted, many fishes had died in the river, particularly in Situmo Dam. Now, interventions were made and tried to resuscitate the dam again. But the stenches and everything that is happening here, without being a technical person, but looking at the pictures and the presentation, it says that we are heading to a disaster where we are sitting at. And I must say also, just in conclusion, because we are running against time, DM, I've said what I wanted to say on behalf of our people, including even the municipality that I'm also presiding over, about the water, the authority of the water. I must also pass my appreciation also to Masebeko, including Ntate Lobakeng. We are sitting here proudly and say that we are one of the few municipalities in the country, not only in the province, that does no longer owe the water boards. And thank you for your intervention as well, working together, the Mahikeng local municipality. And I hope in future, DM, as I conclude, please take the blame as well from the side of your department. Renale project the Engwe Ward 9, Roegrond project. It is still stuck even today. And I think it's a project coming from your department as well, DM. If we can just try to speed up the process. Maybe in future, we'll not see all these bottles here. Maybe perhaps in future we'd say, Le Rona batho ba re cleaner metsi. There should be jars and glasses. Re tshele metsi straight from the taps and we are able to drink them. Re emise go this with these bottled waters. I think that's the future that I want to see, and it must come while we are still alive. Thank you.
All right, colleagues, we're about an hour, almost an hour, 9 minutes behind. Representative here, Premier Kanaukai. Sitting at where at the top? Hi, man. You are representing the Premier, but you are sitting in the gallery. Your rightful position is amongst the masses. On behalf of the Premier, if you are seated. No, it's fine. Okay. You have taken note of the issues that have been raised. Yes, I have. I want to be very clear. I don't want to enter into any conversation without having facts before me. I spoke to Dr. Rismate Mateo, who's our Deputy Director General for Water and Sanitation Services Management. And I said, remember, we don't give WSA status. COCTA does. And I asked the question and I said, when have we done capacity? To look at whether WSAs have got capacity. Because that will be able to indicate whether the status must be taken away or not. But it is definitely something that is in the pipeline. That is something that we are doing. Remember, of the 144 water services authorities, 105 are considered to be in a critical state, which includes Ngakamudiri Molem. Now, you can do your own numbers. 144 water services authorities. Of the 144, 105 are considered to be in a critical state. You can do the numbers in terms of what that means in as far as the challenges that we're facing from a water and sanitation point of view. MMC, ke ne ke go biditse ke batla go make sure gore o teng ebile you have taken note of the issues that have been raised go tswa ko bogosing and here, so that you give a true reflection to the Premier. Because ke tla mo tshwara ka mogala kgantele ke bue le ene, just to informally appraise him, with the expectation that you'll be able to officially and formally appraise him of what the engagements and the presentations had to say and the picture that they painted. I hope and trust that that will happen. Ke lebogile thata. MMC, you are new to this position. Khona le Sello khate baptism of fire. You are there. So I was hoping that just in 2 minutes, what your views are and what you believe would be happening now moving forward.
No, thanks, DM. I think the solution to our problems is the document that government is busy discussing, funding of local government through the white paper. And secondly, I think we will be having a district summit where all stakeholders will be invited, so that we must have one plan in dealing with challenges of water and sanitation. But what I've discovered, DM, through the oversight done by Cooperative Governance Portfolio Committee, was that the district has been operating in silos, Mahalis in silos, DWS in silos. In some ways, you would see projects that are being implemented without the district overseeing or playing a critical role. So such that will be corrected through portfolio committees that would be convened by the MMCs, where Raho created presentation from DWS and all this that have been said, the compliance notices issued without us responding. Let's create that platform, a portfolio committee that would sit quarterly with all relevant departments and deal with all the issues that we do. But I think we'll be having that district summit. If not this month, it will be next month. Thanks.
Thanks. Colleagues, of course, being aware of the time that we are behind, ke tshepisitse mongwe wa bagwebi potlana Majoro wa mo itse motsole shasa ke ke mo tshepisitse gore ke tla ya go gene ke a go mo support ebile o keteka ngwaga di le 5 mo letsatsing la gompieno a le mo kgwebong yaanong ke passionate ka dilo tse di tshwanang kana le tseo yaanong whoever has organized lunch le tla enjoy le be se nna ha ke etle ke a go motsole shasa ke a go ja tse di gatilweng ka koa Dr. Sebego tla intshwarela ha ebe gore ko yena organizitseng o intshwarele ka gore yaanong ke mo gobi potlano ke mo ratang thata wa di gata ene tota yaanong ke batho ga go mo tshegetsa mo letsatsing la gompieno re bogopa o ga re bogopa ha re tswa ha ka bonako hela ra go tabogela ko dikgaolong tseo tse pedi mayor MMCs will go to Mahikeng wastewater treatment plant, will go to Mabato wastewater treatment plant, and then we will go to Denville. Ra go bona gore what is the situation. Well, I mean ba go reile gore ke ngwana mo Mahikeng akere ba lebetse oh no nna ke ngwana mo Mahikeng ke ngwana ko tsetse khanya metsi ya ko kgaolo tse le tsa go Ramatlabama I've attended to it. I remember my colleagues in DWS went to go and do an inspection of some of the holding tanks there in terms of capacity and whatnot. So ke na le lerato le le seng kana ka sepe. Ano ska bona ke ntse ke boa ha. Ke na le vested interest. So whatever is happening here affects all of us. Ke ngwana bokone bophirima, but over and above that, I recognize and realize the crisis that we are facing across the country. Eseng fela mo Mahikeng. So re bo gopa re bolelle gore re tsamayang re simolla kae so that we can be able to try and be done as quickly as possible. I think ra go lebella hela advocate gore what is happening. We've already seen in the pictures, but it's always better when you see for yourself. And yeah, we can take it from there. If I've closed you down for conversations and not, it's not deliberate. Nako ya rona e khutshwane thata. I know the media people, re tla bua kwa ntle kwa. Once we are done, we will be able to engage from there. Akere kgate gona le selo gate ke media doorstep. And then we'll be able to then take questions there and engage further. With that, colleagues, I would like to officially declare this meeting here in these chambers officially closed with Mr. Bokgopa to give us an indication of where we are going. Thank you.